Hey everyone, welcome back to another day of One Room Schoolhouse. As you can see behind us, this is another part of the new museum that we're getting set up.
Now this is part of what George Washington had when he was growing up.
That is actual battle armor from the Revolutionary War. You guys know what that is, but we'll save that for another time. So as you can see, we've got the floor kind of set up for a big event that we just had. So tons of artifacts, tons of really cool things. But one of our favorite stories, favorite books, favorite movies is this right here, Ben Hur.
Came out in 1880. This is done by General Lew Wallace, who is Major General, the youngest Major General in the Union Army. And they were having reunions, officer reunions, soldier reunions after the Civil War for years on both sides, both Confederate and Union. And one of the subordinate officers to Major General Lew Wallace was a colonel named Robert Ingersoll, who became known as the National Evangelist for Atheism. And we've talked about this before, but he went to Lew Wallace, said, "You're a great writer, I'm a great speaker, let's team up and we'll make the nation atheist." And Lew Wallace was kind of ambivalent, started thinking about, it's really not a good deal. And so after studying for some years to find out where his faith was, because he was really an agnostic, and he studied for years, and he came to a conclusion that, Jesus is real, God's real, Christianity is real, and it's not a good deal to get the nation away from Christianity and God and Jesus. So that's why he did this book. Now, unlike a lot of people today who would write an academic book or something that would give you all the reasons, he wrote a novel, and it's called Ben Hur, A Tale of the Christ.
So it goes back to the time of Christ and tells the story of a guy by the name of Ben Hur and kind of his life and the interaction he has with Jesus and how that transforms his life. I mean, I don't want to give any spoilers or anything, but it's a really great book.
It is.
It's a great story, and later in...
And by the way, it's not just a great book in this generation. Ulysses S. Grant hated fiction, and when he got a hold of this, he stayed up all night reading it. So it really is a great book for any generation.
Yeah, if Ulysses S. Grant stayed up all night reading a book, it had to be a good one. So this one, well worth the read. But later in the 1900s, almost not quite 100 years after Lew Wallace wrote the book, it was turned into a famous movie starring Charlton Heston. This is actually a picture of Charlton Heston as Ben Hur, the main character.
The prince who became a slave and dared the evil might of the conqueror.
I tell you, the day Rome falls, there will be a shout of freedom such as the world has never heard before.
I don't know how many Academy Awards this movie won, but it like cleaned house.
Now, did you go see it when it came out in theaters?
No, I would have been able to, but we didn't see this one. But we saw it not long after, so a few years after when it came out. There were replays of it, but yeah, no, I didn't quite, and I wasn't there for the original book either.
Thank you for clarifying.
I was not there when Lew Wallace wrote it, and I wasn't there when Ben Hur was in Israel watching Jesus. So just to be sure, I wasn't there. It kind of looks like it with the white hair, but I wasn't there.
Thanks for the clarity.
You bet.
But anyways, the movie came out and it was just a smashing success. And honestly, actually, you took all of us at WallBuilders to go see it when it was rescreened in theaters not too long ago. And I mean, that was the first time I watched it, and I watched it on the big screen, and it's an amazing movie. I mean, it holds up so well. It's long enough that it actually has an interlude in the middle, but it's just such a gripping story of just the power of Christ. It really takes you back to that period. But behind us, we actually have one of Charlton Heston's costumes from the movie.
You see it right here.
He's wearing it in the picture. There it is right there.
This is when he was driving that chariot back there.
And so in the movie, probably the climax of the movie is the famous chariot race where Charlton Heston is racing against his nemesis. I mean, it's just a great scene. But early in the movie, when Charlton Heston, Ben Hur, is learning how to drive the chariot, it's after he's been rescued, after the slave ship crashes. While he's wearing that costume, he is learning on this exact chariot. This is
his costume in the movie when he was driving that chariot in the movie.
This chariot. He stood right there while they were using this to film. And I mean, this is an artifact, but it's also, I mean, we could hitch up some horses to it right now and take it a spin around the block.
I'm willing to get inside if you want to pull it.
Well, maybe later. Maybe if we get like some 5 really strong guys or something, I'll watch you and cheer you
actually,
on.
That's a good point, because this is a super heavy chariot. This is all steel. I mean, while this is a movie prop, it could have been used for real chariots. I mean, maybe Pharaoh could have used this, except we'd never know it. It's the bottom of the Red Sea.
Yeah, I mean, it is sturdy.
But it is a quality.
It could do some damage today.
It is.
And no gas needed. You know, it's a smart car, electric.
No, it needs a lot of hay and a lot of feed for motivate this. Yeah.
No fossil fuels, but nevertheless, Ben Hur, it's an amazing story. It's an incredible movie. It really did play a major role in the kind of development of America, both when it was released as a book, getting people back to God, and then again, as it was one of the leading kind of blockbuster Hollywood movies. You know, Hollywood wouldn't make a movie like that again. And I mean, even in the more recent Ben Hur adaptation, it really took out a lot of the God element out of it. It wasn't as faithful to the book as the Charlton Heston version of it. So yeah, I mean, really, it's a great movie. Maybe for homework tonight, you guys should gather the family around, rent it from online, watch Charlton Heston and Ben Hur, because it really was such an impactful movie, an impactful story, even back when it was a book.
Yeah, and remember that the title of the book is Ben Hur, A Tale of the Christ. It was Christ-centered. At the time it came out, we were just out of the Civil War, Reconstruction. America was tearing itself up. I mean, it was violent in many places. And this book is credited with bringing America back to God, changing the soul of America. So it really is a transformational story. But on the big screen, they really, really did a good job with it. And you will be impressed if you get to see the movie.
So this is one of the really fun artifacts that we have here. And I hope you join us next time on the One Room Schoolhouse.